Anybody need to use the bathroom?
Mm-mm.
You want me to start reading?
Uh-huh.
Pre-preliminary blitz. Claim the seat and face the people. Challenging the machine. Ambition versus success. This episode sits right at the intersection of ambition and access. Councilwoman Mai Vang isn't just running for Congress. She's running against an establishment Democrat, which raises a bigger question for young people watching. Is this the path to higher office about qualification? Is the path to higher office about qualification or about alignment with power? BVBOE leans into the tension between grassroots leadership and political machinery because too often young leaders are told to wait for their turn, build relationships, or earn it, while others are fast-tracked. While we're unpacking what it really means to challenge the establishment. Who decides when someone is ready for the next level? Whether the system actually allows new voices to rise or quietly shuts them out. This conversation isn't just about one race. It's about whether political ladder is real or controlled.
Baby.
We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we been.
Y'all better get comfortable with saying black.
We in here, yeah, we in here,
Black versus the Board of Education.
'cause we came here, rid of us now. We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we came here, rid of us now. And you know, and we know, and we go, because we been here.
That's why we are indeed a whole mood.
That's it.
That's it, and it's a whole mood every single time we pop onto your airwaves. This is Black versus the Board of Education. My name is Miss Laureen, and I welcome you into this space. Today, we are talking about challenging the machine, ambition versus access. And I'm so excited to have my girl, my council person, although I don't live in Sacramento, Miss Mai Vang is here.
Yes.
And before we start to talk to her, hey.
Hi, everyone.
We're going to let you all know who's in the building, who's joining the conversation, and we're going to get started because we know you have a hard stop. So sitting right next to me is
Mr. Fox, hey, BYLP advocate, time done advocacy as well.
fantastic.
Mr. Chastain, BYLP mentor and time done advocate as well.
Right next to you.
Patrice Hill, director of SAYS. Young people call me Mama P. Just somebody that really cares about Black children and this work that we do in education.
And
Hi, Patrice.
Hi, Mai.
It's good to see you.
Miss you. I love you. So good to see you.
I
Thank
am
you for all
Felicia
that you
Coco
do.
Bland. I am the associate director of SAYS in the Sacramento Hood Auntie. How you doing?
Not the Sacramento.
How you doing?
And then rounding us off, my longest running co-host. Hey girl, hey.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm a second year at UC Berkeley, and I'm excited to be here today.
Hey.
So listen, we got a whole lot to talk about,
Yes.
right? Because you've been through it.
Yeah.
I've been watching you every time you turn around. There's some other shenanigan happening. I think the last time we actually saw each other was in San Francisco. And some drama was unfolding in real time. And I'm like, girl, what are we talking about? What happened? And so I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself. And then I'm going to keep on going into my conversation with you, but I want them to get to know you. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. So grateful. Thank you so much for having me back on the podcast. I think the last time I was on the podcast, we were trying to have a youth seat on the city council,
Right.
and we lost by one vote. So I appreciate everyone who was part of that process to get to ensure that we have young people sitting on the dais. Literally, we had passed the resolution, and then we had a new council, and then they undid it. But
They
we're
was
gonna
like,
keep-
freeze. No,
I know we're gonna keep pushing to make sure young people continue to be at the table. But yeah, that was the last time that I was on this podcast. So it's really great to be back, to be in space with all of you. For those that don't know me, my name is Mai Vang. I am the daughter of Hmong refugee. I was born and raised right here in South Sacramento. I went through our public schools. I went through our public school. I'm the oldest of 16 children in my family. I have 6 sisters and 9 brothers. Grew up here, was the first in my family to go to college. After college, I came back. I was a community organizer in South Sacramento to get our families and our communities engaged in the political process, get them registered to vote, basically doing civics education to let folks and parents know who their school board member is, Then I was on the school board to fight for lots of issues for our young people. And that's actually where I met the person right here. This is actually how we actually met, because I was on the school board, and you were always there fighting for our Black and brown students all the time. And so I was on the school board for 4 years, fighting for our babies in our neighborhood schools. And then I'm on the Sacramento City Council now as the progressive city council member, often on the 8-1 or the 8-1 or 7-2 votes. Most of the time we vote unanimously. I just want to remind folks that, but there is that 5% that I will say, I won't, I will stay bold and courageous on and not vote for a budget that doesn't reflect my priorities. Mm-hmm. And now, I've decided to step in the ring and run for Congress. And a big part of that is because I don't have the luxury of waiting on the sideline while democracy is under attack. When I feel like our current Congresswoman isn't speaking truth to power and isn't moving in a sense of urgency with everything that's happening. I don't take running against an incumbent lightly. I always knew it was going to be an uphill battle. I walked in the ring knowing that I may not get any endorsement from any of my colleagues or the electeds and the Democratic Party, but no one's entitled to a seat. Not even this seat that I sit in on the dais as a city council member. No one's entitled to a seat, and that seat belongs to the people. And it's really important that the people have another option on the ballot. And so we've been running this campaign for about 6-7 months now, and it's been tough. It has been an uphill climb. But again, I am no stranger to taking on the establishment. And I really believe that this region is ready for change. It takes a lot of, I will say, it does take courage to make this decision, but it's like collective courage, because I'm not running alone. I'm running with everybody. It is a campaign that is led by young people. It's led by all different race, ethnicity. Like, this is a grassroots campaign, and I'm really proud of the campaign we've run so far. But we do just have 30 days left, and we heard that there's lots of outside players coming in. We got APEC coming in. We got like all these other interest dollars coming in. So it's about to be a fight the next 30 days.
Mama P, because you sitting over here, and you must want to start.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you, Mai, for being here. Again, we know you from being on the school board for Sac City Unified School District. We've been doing work in this community for about 20 years, and you were always very supportive as a school board member. And I've seen, your transition from the school board to city council, and now here you are running for Congress, right? And so my first question is, you're running against an establishment Democrat, and you said that. Let's be clear. What does establishment actually mean in this race?
So my definition of establishment in this race, because everyone's definition may be different, is someone whose vote in alignment, consistent alignment with the Democratic Party, that has not been helpful for our working families, right? Someone who's comfortable, that's been in there for a long time. And so, there is a power infrastructure that supports the establishment that keeps them in those seats. And that is what I'm up against. That is what we are up against. There is a political apparatus infrastructure that keeps people in these seats for a long time. That's money, that's being connected to money, being connected to power, other electeds, and that's what we're up against. That's what we're up against. So I will say it is a little, I don't want to say scary, but it is scary a little bit sometimes. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and have to remind myself that we are taking on some really powerful electeds in a powerful institution. What I also know as a community organizer is that power isn't given; it has to be taken. If folks are not going to share that power, right, with the community, and so that's what we're up against. I mean, when I say institution, literally, the federal building, the federal courthouse building, is named after Matsui, right? I mean, when I say institution, we have, And so,
and to be clear, we're talking about Robert Matsui, right? The husband.
Yeah, Robert Matsui. Yeah.
The ex-husband. I'm sorry, the one that passed away in the seat that she then assumed. Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so this yeah. So just some
And that's my
context.
definition of establishment, meaning you didn't have to get out and earn it. It was given to you based on your last name.
Yeah.
Yes.
But-
So the dynasty, so the Matsui, they've been in office for almost half a century, 47 years, 48 years, almost half a century. Bob Matsui was in that seat for a long time, almost 30 years. And then when he passed away, she stepped into that seat. I'm learning a lot about history now too, like during that time, who was actually was going to run, but how this individual and some folks were talked out from the establishment to not do it. And so yeah, and then the current congresswoman has been in that seat for about 21 years. So in combined, they have been in office for almost half a century, 47 years, before I was even born, before my parents even came here as refugees in the United States. So yeah.
So just a quick clarifying question. So if somebody is in these seats and they pass away, we don't revote. It just
I think
anybody. No. So basically, yeah, good question. Good question. When someone passes away, then somebody else runs, right? But how the institution works is they usually pick they pick their person. They pick their person who they want next in line, right? And so there is this, I want to talk a little bit about this. There is this there's like this unspoken rule among like elected officials, and I'm a local elected, that you don't do what Mai Vang is doing. Like you don't take on an incumbent in this way, someone who has been part of the political apparatus for this long. You just don't do it. You either wait your turn or you just don't do it. But the thing is, I wasn't waiting my turn. I wasn't even thinking about running for Congress,
yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, us stepping into the ring is taking on the entire establishment and not playing by their rules.
Right.
Now let me ask you this, because I know you're still talking about it. When you say stepping into the ring and you're going up and against an establishment, can you paint the picture of what happened to you at the Democratic convention?
Yeah. So I'm running for Congress. Obviously, I'm a Democrat, but I'm a progressive Democrat. Like I'm very critical of the Democratic Party because sometimes I feel like they take people of color's votes for granted. Yeah. So I'm always pushing like the working families kind of agenda, making sure that we are centering working people. And we went to convention to try to get the Democratic endorsement because, right, the Dems said they're a large tent. They want to include everybody, and so we went to convention to try to get the votes from delegates. And delegates are people that are appointed by elected officials, which is a whole nother thing. They're appointed by elected officials, or they can also run to be a delegate in the region. And so during the convention, the candidates get an opportunity to share their platform about why they're running. And so the Congresswoman and I was on stage, and there was an agenda. She did her opening. I did my opening. They asked us questions. We rotated back and forth. And that was the end of the agenda. And then Nancy Pelosi, folks will call her, a queen of the Democratic Party, someone who's incredibly powerful, first woman Speaker of the House, walked in, and the facilitator, the folks handed her the mic. And just to let you all know, like the Democratic Party, they also got their own bylaws. And in the bylaws, it says that during caucusing and when you're trying to get an endorsement, only delegates in the district is allowed to caucus and speak. Nancy Pelosi doesn't live in Congressional District 7. She lives in she's in the Bay Area. Yeah. But they handed her the mic anyways. And I was okay with it at first because I was like, oh, maybe she's just doing her hello and hi, everyone, like welcome to convention. But it ended up being a full speech about supporting Doris Matsui and why the delegates should support Doris. And that, yes, we support young people. We support young people, but right now is not the time. We need experience. And, please cast your vote for Doris. And then half of the room, a lot of young folks were really angry, younger delegates. It's really frustrated because, like, first of all, it wasn't on the agenda. Second, if you have someone else speaking, are you going to give Mai Vang an opportunity to find someone to speak on her behalf because it wasn't part of the agenda and it violated the bylaws. And so they walked up to me. The facilitator was like, hey, we gave the mic to Nancy Pelosi. So do you have any elected officials in this room that can speak on your behalf? And up to this point, like there's like no one that like no local elected that has endorsed me because it's like a grassroots campaign. Councilwoman Katie Maple had endorsed me, but we weren't gonna roll out her endorsement until the following week. So I look in the room and I see her in the back, and like I lock eyes with her, and I was like, I absolutely do have someone that can speak. And I looked at her and she's nodding her head like, I'm going up, huh? I'm like, yeah. I was like, yes, I do have somebody. Her name is Councilwoman Katie Maple. Can you please come up here? And so she went on stage and she spoke with her whole chest. And was like, look, like I got a lot of respect for the Congresswoman. And she looked at the Congresswoman and even Nancy Pelosi, who she looks up to, right? But she said, look, and I think what she said was really powerful is that a true leader, a good leader is someone who knows when to pass down the torch.
Come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just stood there and I was just like, oh, okay, let Maple talk. Like she's speaking with her heart, you know? I just let Maple talk. And Maple said, look, we have a lot of respect for Doris. Thank you so much, Congresswoman, but it's time for a new generation of leadership.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, I hope that the delegates would vote. But a lot of those delegates, you know, they're also part of the establishment too. So there's that piece too, right? And we were hoping that she would get under 66%, because if you're able to get 66%, under 66% of the delegates, you can force the floor vote to the full convention of all the delegates throughout the state of California. And we lost by one vote in order to have that opportunity. But I mean, I always knew going into convention, like, I operate with all my heart, all heart and hustle. But I always knew that like no campaign was going to be won at a convention center. Like the campaign's going to be won by knocking on doors and talking to voters and having a large campaign field team, right? And so, I think the convention just reaffirmed to me that when you are well connected to resources, when you're well connected to money and power, that you can like rig your own rules and do what you want, right? Which is why I like wrote a letter of appeal for the next day and say, hey, look, like we got to either redo this or just, let the voters decide, because Nancy Pelosi violated the Democratic Party's own bylaws for speaking, So that's what went down at the convention. So yeah.
Melissa, let me go to Melissa since she's not in here.
Yeah, I have a question about something you said at the very beginning during your introduction. You talked about the current Congresswoman, I believe, is not, in your opinion, speaking truth to power, correct? Is that what you said? Okay. Yeah. Can you expand on in what way, like what you mean by that? And then more importantly, explain how you plan or would plan to speak truth to power and how you would be someone that people should vote for and can count on.
Yeah. So here's the thing, like as a Congresswoman, multiple things, right? Like you should be utilizing this position in order to center the issues that are facing our families right now in this moment. And to talk about the ways in which this administration has continued to harm or attack our democracy, attack our Black and brown folks, our immigrant and refugees. And for the first 5 months of 2025 of last year, when Trump was reelected in 2024, we didn't hear anything from the Congresswoman. Like y'all can go back and look at our social media. Like it was like quiet and mute. Like they had the No Kings protest, all of these things, but you didn't hear from the Congresswoman. And there was a lot of frustration from families, from community members. And folks started saying, we got to find someone to run against her, or we need her to speak up, right? And in those 5 months, we didn't hear anything. And during that time was when like a lot of the community activists on the floor, Dr. Flo Kofer, everyone was like, we got to find someone to run against Doris Matsui. Mai, would you do it? And I was like, no. And I had told the community, I had told Flo, I had told folks that no, because one, okay, I will share this too. I'm a daughter of Hmong refugees. I'm Asian American Pacific Islander. And, they have been in the community, API legacy community leaders, right? In the RAPI community. And representation is important, but I'm at a place where representation that can deliver for our working family is more important, because you can be an API woman, but if you got stock trades in war manufacturer companies, if you're making a profit off of ICE detention centers, if you're not moving with a sense of urgency, then for me, it's like, yes, okay, it's great. You're an API woman, but like your values, are they aligned? Are you moving with a sense of urgency? So that's what I mean by speaking truth to power and really acknowledging what's happening on the ground. And I feel like the Congresswoman wasn't doing that. Even when she wasn't doing that for the first 5 months, I was telling folks, I need to meet with her and have a conversation with her and talk to her, because maybe she just doesn't know what's happening on the ground, right? And it wasn't until I had the meeting with her late fall, and after I walked out of that meeting, that I recognized and realized that we needed new leadership. And a big part of that, like, I wanted to meet with her to talk to her about what was going on, that I was like snatching and folks off the street, and maybe like we could work in partnership, right? And maybe she just didn't know what was going on. And it wasn't until I had the meeting with her that I recognized that like there's a political apparatus around her that's pretty much like, she didn't know what was going on. So she just turned to her staff, be like, hey, so what's our position on immigration, you know? And so that was the moment that I knew in that space, with a lot of gratitude and respect for her, that I recognized. And I took off my counsel hat. And when I was sitting there talking to her, I was really frustrated as a constituent. I was born and raised in Sacramento, and I wanted a fighter. I wanted someone in that seat that was going to talk about the issues and that was going to like take on Trump head on, along with a progressive electeds in the House, right? And we're a safe blue seat. Like we should be pushing. We should be pushing for our progressive issues, for our Black and brown communities. Like, we are in a safe blue seat, and we shouldn't just be like voting in alignment just because it's like, you know, in Dems and that's it. Like, we should be pushing on the issues, and we haven't done that with this seat.
Mr. Chastain.
I want to thank you for being here. First and foremost, I appreciate your energy and what you're speaking on. You have a real passion for what's going on, but I want to know this: how do you stay connected to the community once you've been elevated to a federal office?
Yeah. So how I'm gonna share with you is how I govern at the local level is how I'm gonna govern when I become a congresswoman. That the decisions that I make, like co-governing, is something that's really important to me. When I think about the Sacramento Children's Fund, like the first ballot measure that I worked on, it was led by young people, and we worked on it together to get that city ballot measure passed. When I think about, language access, fighting for the language access court, and when I think about the Sacramento Community Action Plan, I'm trying to work on right now with my colleagues to, make sure we have a plan if ICE was to like, come in, like what was unfolding in Minnesota, right? Like, but I'm doing that with community. Like how I govern is always with community, which I get frustration from my colleagues about. Like, oftentimes, like, but we're the council member, we get the ultimate decision. I'm not gonna say who said that to me, but there are folks that said you are the city council member. Like, we just have to put our plan forward. And I'm like, yeah, but did you hear what the community said? They want this part in it. So I agree with them. We got to put this part in it, right? Because for me, it's all about inside outside organizing. Like, I can get there and try to push for policies, but it will not happen without communities' political pressure and them organizing. And I actually learned that, when I was an organizer, I always thought like all the power was with all the people on the dais. Dais meaning like sitting up there making decisions. But when I became a school board member, and even as a council member, I realized like how powerful collective community power is when they come up and they speak and they talk about the issues, and they pretty much tell the electeds, like, you're in that seat to work for us, right? And these are the issues we care about. And so for me, co-governing is really important. So back to being like, when I become a congresswoman, I'm taking all of y'all with me, because I think how you stay connected is making sure that you're actually coming back to Sacramento. Like, that's the other piece, right? Coming back to Sacramento, having community conversation, not just town hall, but like community conversations. Like, I actually want to have like a youth advisory where they are advising me, like, Congresswoman, like, here's the issue that we want to talk about at the federal level, right? I think that's so important. And so how I plan to stay connected is I'm coming back. Like, I know that the work hours, like Monday, Thursday, fly back, on the weekends, but I plan to come back and be in space with community. And I live in Meadowview, so I live in South Sacramento, and my husband is going to be here, and I'm going to miss him. I'm going to come back home to him because it's going to be tough, and he's not moving anywhere. He's staying here in Meadowview while I'm in DC. So we're going to be going back and forth. And so, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here right here in South Sacramento in Meadowview.
Oh, speaking of that, because I've seen you out at the Sweet Potato Festival in Meadowview and different things over the years. And so with Sacramento having a deep Black and Hmong, community, especially in South Sacramento, how do you plan on working to build solidarity between the two communities while addressing their unique needs?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for that. Well, first, let me just start off with this. I know that my people would not be in this country, would not have the rights that we have, had it not been for Black activists and civil rights Black leaders who literally put their bodies on the line so that we could have the rights that we have today, which is being stripped in this moment from this fascist president, right? I say that because before the Hmong even arrived in the United States, like 65% of Americans didn't even want Hmong refugees, Southeast Asians to come to the United States.
Yeah.
When the United States recruited the Hmong people to fight in the Vietnam War and the Secret War of Laos, then the United States withdrew their troops, and there was like a complete genocide of our people. 40,000 Hmong soldiers and villagers died. And my parents fled the jungles, crossed the Mekong River, made it to Thailand to seek refuge. And it was Black Americans, Black civil rights leaders that went to DC and say, like our Hmong siblings, our Southeast Asian brothers and sisters, they need refuge. And y'all did this to them, right?
Yeah.
It was Black folks who fought for us. And so I want to start off with that. Like, I would not be here today. We would not have the rights without that. And so I really see like that our struggle are so interconnected.
Yes. Yes.
And I will also share and I will also at the same time want to hold space for that we live as a community together, and the issues of violence, of education, of healthcare. We may speak different languages, eat different food, but we have the same shared struggles, right? Yes. And so for me, I know that like when our Black babies are doing well, our Hmong babies are gonna be okay too, right? Yes. Like that. Yes. That for me is key and critical. And when I see anti-Blackness in the Hmong community, I am the first one to call it out. Because that cannot, right? Because that's real in our community. I remember during the Black Lives Movement, and I was on a podcast, on a virtual, kind of like this, and we were talking, and I got so much hate mail from my own community about talking about anti-Blackness. Like that's real in our community, right? And so we have to be able to, like, I think, hold space for each other and talk about these issues from the Hmong community to the Black community. And I will always stand in solidarity with folks who are about social justice and about liberation. And so, when I become Congresswoman, I'm gonna come back here on this podcast. I'm gonna continue to speak with community members. Yes, hold me to it. Absolutely hold me to it. And because I think that's really key. I think that's absolutely really key. So yeah. I keep telling people I'm not when we get to Congress, because it's not when we get to Congress, I'm not going anywhere, y'all. I'm gonna need you stuff. I'm gonna still need all of you, because when we get to the halls of Congress, I still have to talk about the issues, and we still have to organize. Like we still have to organize. That's the other piece. So this is long term, right? Long term to change this country. Right. So that all of our babies, all of our communities can thrive. So yeah.
Right.
How you doing, Ms. Mai?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Fox?
I am A-okay. I'm happy that I heard everything that you were saying right now, because it connects with the question I was having for you. I had a critique for you early on, and I was a little bit skeptical as I was listening to you talk. You were saying you're going up against this establishment, these Democrats and whatnot. And you were saying we don't do that. We don't go against this establishment. You don't go against outnumbered. And I was thinking of the underdog. And then when you just asked the question, and you made the connection. I was going to tell you do that. That's how all those establishments got made. That's how we stood up for the Hmong community and every other community that has come across America. That's what we're doing right now. We're going against the numbers. We're the underdog. And I like that you keep saying when we go. Yeah, I like that. Now, that being said, and we're talking about what we're going against, I've seen since I've been out here, and I'm watching watching how it goes with politics. People, they rise into politics, like you were saying, and then they get there, and people are saying, what are you going to do when you make it, Mai? I've seen other people, they make it there, and then they make friends. Now I'm on with the team, but now people forget all these people was against them when they was going up there, and they forget these people have their own ulterior motives and their own morals that do not align with ours at all. It's not time to get friends. So when I hear you and I say when we make it, that's good. But when we make it, I'm still not trying to be friends with them. What is it that you're trying to do when you come back? Thank you. And I'm
Yeah.
for you. That's not a loaded question to try to trip
No,
you up.
no, that's really good. I think the thing is, what's my North Star? Like, why am I in this? Like, why did I decide to run for Congress? Why am I on the city council? It's really to fight alongside community, to make sure they have the resource they need to be able to thrive. Right? That will always be my center, no matter what. And I mean, I'm not going to put it out there. Like, we are running to win, but if we don't win, like, the work doesn't go away. I'm still going to be in this space as a community organizer, as a council member. Like, I'm not going anywhere, right? And so that is always my North Star, which is the reason why even on city council, it is like no secret that like I'm often like on the 7-2 and the 8-1 vote, because even though I'm sitting on the dais with my colleagues, I will still disagree with them, right? I am not afraid to call things out. I'm like, our budget, like I'm the only council member that had voted no on this budget because it doesn't reflect what my community wants to see. When the majority of our budget is like, you know, police and fire, when public safety is more than just that. Public safety is investing in our young people, in our parks, in our families, in our communities, right? And we passed a resolution before I was on the city council that says public safety is more than just police and fire, and we're still not doing what we voted on. So I always have to remind my colleagues, and I am not, I have the people by our side, because it's not just my like on the dais. It's like I feel like when I'm there, my job is to be there as a steward for community, and this is what community have said they want, and that's my job to be able to center and uplift that. And that is what I plan to do when I get to the halls of Congress. Like, I've been on the campaign trail about 6-7 months, and I hear a lot of the issues that people want to talk about the federal level, like why are we spending billions of dollars on these illegal war when our families are struggling to survive? Why we need Medicare for all? Why we gotta abolish ICE? Like, I've been unapologetic, and I've said that. And I know that's not popular among moderates and conservative, because this is a large congressional district. It's not just progressive. It's like, it's people across the political spectrum. And I have to be able to engage in those conversations. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to go to town halls and be like, you know what? I actually disagree with you, but I'm gonna have a conversation with you. Like, I think that's really important. So
can I ask you a follow-up question to that?
Yeah.
What is the difference between somebody who is in the office for a political lifestyle versus there for a political change?
It's the seat that don't matter. The seat doesn't matter to me. The title doesn't matter. It's about, like, if I'm in this position, what can I do with like that? Like, what can I do leveraging this seat to bring resources? I think that's the difference for me, right? That's why I'm like, I'm gonna put my heart and soul into this. If we don't win, I know I'm still gonna be doing this work, right? And if I get into that seat, I'm gonna try to leverage and use that seat in a way to bring resources to fight for my people. My people meaning all of you, my community, right? And so that's the difference, right? Like, because I know that if I don't get the seat, I'm still gonna be doing this work anyways, right? I just think that right now, I think that I am the better leader in this moment right now for that seat. One, because no one wants to challenge her. That's the other piece. And the other part is I do know what our community is going through. I have to trust that I do know, because I'm a daughter refugee. I live in Meadowview. I'm a recent newlywed to a son of Mexican immigrants who family members are undocumented. My husband works in the auto industry, 12-hour shifts. You know, he's picking up extra shifts so that we can cover, you know, have buffer room when times get tough. Like these are the lived experience that are so important. Like, that informs the ways in which we should be creating policy at the national level. And there's a reason why, like, Trump won 2 times, y'all. It's because, like, the Democratic Party is so out of touch with what is happening on the ground. Like, we lost to Trump twice, 2 times. And I have family members
and lost bad.
Lost really bad. Lost very bad. Yeah. I have folks who voted for Trump that I know because they felt like the Democratic Party wasn't fighting for them, right? Obviously, they see that their life is much, like, worse or off now, right? But, like, we got to go back to those roots of, like, social justice, critical safety net programs for, like, food stamps, SNAPs, healthcare, education, like, critical safety net programs that can help our families thrive. All of that is being cut, and mainly because we're in a capitalist society. So there's it's all profit-driven system, right? And so what does that mean? Like, the other piece, the difference between women is that I don't take any corporate PAC money. Like, 70% of her donations come from corporations. And we know that a lot of these corporate PAC actually, you know, they're the one lobbying. They're the ones that are, like, helping to shape these policy at the national level. And I want to be able to go in there and, like, be there just to work for the people and not have any of those ties. I also know that when your campaign's funded by a corporate credit card, you got debt to pay.
Mm.
You know, and so you're not going to move. You're not going to move with the sense of urgency on Medicare for all. You're not going to say abolish ICE, even though like I saw her post like last week. It was like this long post of like why ICE is like fundamentally systemically broken. And I'm like, the short way to say is abolish ICE, right? Like you can go read a statement and it's pretty much like that whole statement is abolish ICE. It's like, we know that it's systematically broken. I'm like, I'm reading this and I'm like, why can't you just say it? You know that it's broken. Like, why don't you just say it, right? And it's because when you take money, when you have stocks and you take money from ICE enablers, when you, right? And contractors that make profit every time a baby or a family is detained, you're not going to move with a sense of urgency. That is the honest truth. Same thing with like the war, right? Like earlier this year, she voted to send 3.3 billion, you know, to Israel. When we got babies starving, we got families struggling to like, I would have taken the no vote. Like many of the progressive elected Congress folks took a no vote. She took a yes vote, right? So those are some of the difference between me and her. And I think that in this moment, it can't just be any Dem going back just to fold to the same system that got us here. It's got to be another generation of leaders who are willing to go in there to disrupt and change, because we have this window during the midterms to get progressive elected. And then maybe in 2028, if our election's not stolen, right? And we're going to do everything we can to hold the line on that. But the trifecta, if we win the House, the Senate, and the president, we got that 2-year window, y'all, like 2028 to 2030. We got that 2-year window to do some transformative things. But that can only happen if you got transformative candidates and electeds in halls of Congress and on the Senate side to actually be bold and courageous enough to do it. And I want to be part of that movement. Like, it's not just like this race is more than just like one congressional seat. It is really about like the future of this country and like, who are we going to send in there to actually have a shared agenda to move this country? And I say we, meaning Congressional District 7, I want us to be part of that conversation, part of that conversation and shaping that.
I have a quick question, kind of following up with what you were just talking about, how Trump won 2 terms because there's no trust in the Democrats, right? And with you running as a Democrat, how are you going to get the people to start trusting you?
I think we gotta run on working class family issues. That's the thing, right? Because it don't matter if you're a Democrat, Republicans are struggling right now in this moment too, right? I am a Democrat because we have this 2-party political system. Like, I'm just going to hold space for that and acknowledge that. But I am part of the Working Families Party, which is like another third party that's like infiltrating, right? I'm part of another party, but we kind of operate within the Democratic Party, trying to push the party to go back to its values of supporting our working families, right? And for me, it's also about that inside-outside strategy. Like, these are the 2 parties that we got to work with and we got to push them, but also at the same time organize, like inside and outside, right? And I think that we just have to stay focused on issues impacting people's daily life. I think that's how we bring people to a multi-generational, multi-racial working families. I think that's what this country is about. We got to make sure that all of our families are thriving, and that's all the workers, that's all our families, everybody out there hustling to take care and to care of their family and loved ones.
And if you're just now joining us, we are talking challenging the machine, ambition versus access with Councilwoman Mai Vang. And I'm listening, right? And I'm one of those folks. I've been lifelong Democrat up until recently. I think I went independent this last cycle around.
Did you you re-register as declined to state?
I know. I probably went independent. I don't know. I did something. I didn't do Democrat because they be pissing me off. But this is the thing, right? Because I think that for so long, Black folks have been a captured vote for the Democratic Party
and taken advantage of for decades.
And we've never we have always voted blue no matter who. And we've never gotten anything in return for our vote. Politics is an exchange. It is not a gift. So you're running right now under the Working Families platform, and you've acknowledged anti-Blackness. You've acknowledged all these things. And had it not been for the Black community, a lot of folks wouldn't be here. How do you continue to stomp in this way, acknowledging all that while still holding true to who you are as a person? Because I know that there's going to be pushback. What political pushback or personal pushback have you already experienced because you decided to step into this race?
Oh man, that's a good one.
Ooh, I done made her think, y'all.
Mhm.
I'm about to play the Jeopardy sound.
Yeah, you know what? I
Mhm.
would actually say in this race, and even like in this moment, I know that we win when we are authentically our true self, right? Because no matter if I'm on the debate stage or on the news or whatever, like you can't be scripted. Like people can tell if you're scripted or not scripted. And I think what actually is my central of like how I operate is like, this is what little Mai would have wanted. Like, what does she need to survive? Like, what does she need to like, what did little, I was gonna say Melissa, Patrice, Mr. Fox, like what did they need? Like what kind of world do they need in order to have a thriving life? And that's like my North Star. Like no matter where I'm at, Maureen, like I often think about that, right? Like the political decisions I make, I think about like what type of future is that gonna create for my little nieces and nephews, my siblings, and for little Mai. And I feel like whatever decision that's in front of me, I think about that in order to inform my decision. Like, what are the harms, the consequences? Like, how is this going to help? Like, really, the next generation.
And I just want to make sure that I'm specific in what I'm asking you, because again, there are going to be Black folks voting for you. What can they count on you to do? How will you show them that their vote is not taken for granted and that you actually see them and you're going to respond?
I'm a show up. I'm gonna always show up and be in the space with them, and have them know and let them know that they are part of co-creating these policies with me. Right? Because I don't have the answers to everything. I'm not going to be up here saying I have the answers to everything, but I do know who has the answer, and that's the people on the ground, right? Closest to the pain. And so my commitment to you is that like the decisions that I make, the policies that we craft, it's going to come from the community. It's going to come from all of us. That's my commitment, that it's going to be informed by your lived experience. And that's the only way that it could be successful. And then as a congressman, I got to work through all the politics stuff, but the piece of legislation, the policy stance, is informed by the community.
Word. You know, the black voters have been taken for granted by the Democratic Party for decades. You know, I feel like politicians care about the Black vote around election time, and then they disappear, and we don't see them again
until the next election.
Until the next election. I appreciate you explicitly stating that you live in Meadowview, because for me, that tells me that you live in the community. And it also lets me know that you see what we see. You have to shop at the same grocery stores. You have to go to the same gas stations. You're aware.
There's no grocery stores in Meadowview.
I was going to say that too. I was going to be like, there's a farmer's market. There's a farmer's market that we started.
Y'all going to Nugget over the bridge.
Actually, I'm like my grocery store. My closest grocery store is.
I was hoping my co-host would not, they wouldn't the food deserts right now, trying to get to the Black vote.
She lives in the food desert.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say my closest grocery store is the Smart and Final off of Florin. That's the one that I go to.
Word.
But yeah.
And you can only shop at Smart and Final if you got some big money.
Go ahead with your question.
So Black voters have consistently, delivered elections for Democrats repeatedly, right? Like it's a repeated process. We show up, the Black vote counts, and I see very little in return when it comes to delivering those elections. You've talked about like living in the community, being, the anti-Blackness that's in the Hmong community and other communities that are not.
Mr. Chest didn't want everybody to see him,
okay.
But go ahead.
It went out. I just brought it back
Y'all
in.
just to
My
forget
bad.
my question. Huh? Dang.
Right?
You know,
So-
for Black folks that are on the fence, right? Because we have lost, there has been a lot of trust lost
Yes.
in the Democratic Party from the Black community. You know, we come from a generation of Democrats, straight diehard Democrats, and you couldn't be anything else.
Mhm.
Why, if there are Black folks that are on the fence, and you know your major opponent is another Democrat, right?
Mhm.
So how can you convince the Black community that this is not just another show up for me and I'm gonna disappear? If they don't know you from the school board, they don't know you from the city council, how can they trust that you're not gonna just be one of those politicians that show up when it's time for elections and then disappear?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for that question. And you should always hold electeds and folks accountable to answer that question. So before I answer that question, I'm going to say this. Before I decided to run for Congress, same thing with the city council. I went to a few Black elders and community trusted messenger in the community to ask for their blessings.
Mm.
So that's Miss Jackie Rose, Mr. Reese, who's been in the Meadowview area for 30 plus years.
Mhm.
Before I even announce, I actually go to them, ask them for their blessings, whether they endorse me or not, because that's really important for me, right? I remember when Pastor Les and I, we ran against each other during city council. Now he's my best friend. We talk all the time. But even that time, as Jackie Rose endorsed Pastor Les Simmons, but I asked her, even if you're not going to endorse me, I would love your blessings. I will love your blessings because I know the work that you've done in the Meadowview community, and the reason why I'm running is because I want to fight for resources for South Sacramento, right? That was my North Star. I'm never gonna drift away from that. And so she gave me her blessing, even though the first time I went there for city council, she didn't endorse me. She gave me her blessing anyway. Same thing with Miss Tommy Whitlow as well. That was originally always ran the Sweet Potato Festival. She didn't endorse me too. She said, I'm supporting Pastor Les Simmons, but I appreciate you asking for my blessing. I'll give you my blessings, but I'm not endorsing you. And then after we won, they said, we worked side by side, and I still go to them no matter what, right? Because for me, it's not about the ego, it's not about the title. It's about, I know that if I'm able to serve everyone in the community, then we're going to be okay. Now, my commitment is this. What I'm trying to solve as a councilwoman, as a congresswoman, is this: that the power that we are trying to solve is the lack of political power for working families. When I say that, because I know our Black and brown families are struggling to pay the mortgage, to pay the rent. If they don't have a house, they're renting, to put food on the table, right? And the issue is that we don't have political power and voice for those issues, right? So when I go to the halls of Congress, these are the families that I think about. That is central to the work I do, which is the reason why I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna fight for our Black families, because they are part of our working families, our issues, right? Our families. And so that is my commitment. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep them central to the work that we do, no matter what. And they are going to be the ones that are going to be informing the work that I continue to do. And I shared, how I govern at the local level is how I'm going to govern when I get to the halls of Congress. So yeah.
Word. Thank you.
Just on a little lighter note, your slogan, Heart and Hustle. Want to speak a little bit more about your slogan and how you got it? It says, we like to say, school is my hustle. And when I seen you at the Sweet Potato Factory, I seen your slogan, Heart and Hustle. So can you speak a little bit more about your slogan and how you got it?
Yeah. The slogan came about during the city council campaign, because someone had said, oh, Mai, this campaign, you have a hella passion, hella heart, but you also got a lot of hustle. I'm like, yeah, I do have heart and hustle. And I'm like, oh my God, that should be the hashtag, right? But a big part on the heart piece is that you have to have the passion for it, right? The fire for this work, the fire in your belly for this work, the heart, the passion. But you could just you could be passionate about issue, but if there's no action, if you're not hustling to make it done, nothing can be done for the community. Right. And so you gotta have both. You can't just be I'm passionate about this, but what's the action piece, right? So it's the hustle piece. So yeah, that's the hashtag is heart and hustle. And we're gonna leave all the heart and hustle out in the field and see what the voters decide. We leave it up to the voters to decide. But that's the hashtag. But now the second hashtag for the campaign is my time, our time, but it's not my time. It's your time, right? So folks are saying my time. They're not saying they're saying my name, but they're really not saying my name. they're saying that it is their time. So,
Yeah.
so that's like the new hashtag. It's my time, our time, because it's their time. Yeah.
So I think the coolest part. So I saw a graphic and it said "hustle and flow" because you and Flo, Dr. Flo are connected in some way. So hustle and flow. I thought that was really cool. I just wanted to say that. Mr. Fox, Melissa, somebody.
I got a question for you.
Chastain, one of y'all.
Lately I've been down at the state capitol, getting my feet wet and lobbying and what it is to legislate and certain language and certain words. I'm also understanding the community that I'm fighting for. And there's certain, as I'm going in there to fight for certain communities, I find myself on the floor with people who also would like to align with me that I don't want to align with, because what your morals have nothing to do with the people that I'm representing, but it might look good in numbers, but I can't do it because I will be shutting my party down. I will be disrespecting my party. I go in the room, not with I statements, but with community statements. That being said, when I go in these rooms to lobby, sometimes the people we lobby in, they'll let you know, they let us know flat out, I ain't trying to hear that. And where's the safety regulations? They're totally against it. They're totally against maybe what we look like or whatever. So to me, my question for you is, how do you stay grounded in community when the pressure to align with party and politics increase? And how do you bring back a vote for me when you lobbying for me and what you're going in the room for? I don't want to hear the compromise. I'm the person you're working for. No. We're here for change. We're not here for to compromise or anything. So if that's what it is, we don't want to align with their party. We'll wait next year. How do you fight when I'm not in the room and you're in there fighting for me and I don't want what they want, nor do I want to align with another party?
Yeah. So I will say this, like, you're asking a different elected official where, like, most of the time I don't compromise too. So I end up being on the 1 to 8, like the 8 to 1 or the 7-2 vote. But even if we don't win that moment, I feel like we are trying to win that battle in order to let folks know that we're not giving up, right? Like, that's the other piece. It's like, you have to ask, like, what is the sacrifice, right? What is the sacrifice in that moment, and is it worth it? And if it ain't worth it, then I'm not going to compromise, right? But it varies on the issue. Like, it depends on the issue and the topic, right? Like, there are just some key things that I will not move on. Doesn't matter. Like, no matter what, I won't move on it. Like, meaning, like, I won't compromise. But there are some stuff that, like, I'm just trying to think of, like, a policy, like,
something safe.
Yeah, no. I'm like, here, I'll give you an example. Right, I'm gonna give you an example right now. I'll give you an example right now. Like, here's something. You know, I'm pushing for a community action plan, and Vice Mayor Talamantes, Eric Guerra, and I are working on it. And we are and I know this is live, so I'm just be honest. I'm talking about what's going on. We've met with community about key things that we need to put in this action plan to really protect our residents from ICE. There's a section on limiting our participation with the federal government, like joint task force. I want to make sure that we do that. One of my colleagues doesn't want to, because they see it as if we may lose resources for sex trafficking from the federal government. And my thoughts on it is more, do we have to be on the task force to address sex trafficking in the city? We probably don't, right? We probably don't. And so the question is now, do I want to keep that in there, or do I want to take it out? Because if I don't take it out, we're not going to be able to push it forward. And so what I'm doing, how I'm navigating the space is, okay, well, definitely the three of us are working on this. If you don't want this, sure, I'll take it out, but I'm still going to propose it. I'm going to propose it to the mayor. And if it dies on the mayor's desk, then just know that y'all was part of that, because you didn't let me put it in, but I'm going to be public about it. So my thing is, like, I think being open and honest and transparent, even about how you negotiate things, because what I'm learning now as an elected is that sunshine is my best friend. That, we can negotiate things and behind closed doors, but I'm going to tell you how the negotiation went down. Unless it's like closed session and HR, then you can't talk about stuff in closed session. But
don't get no Brown Act violations.
I know. But if it's conversations that I'm having with my colleagues on finding a compromise, I will always be honest and open with the community, be like, here's what this council member thought, and this is my position on it, right? Because I do feel like when you have the community's back, it's a trust goes both ways. You also have to be open with the community about the conversation that happened. And so I told my colleagues, like, look, if y'all don't want this, put this in there. I'm gonna tell the community that y'all didn't want it, and you have to be ready for that. And I will propose it in another resolution. I will propose it again. Now it may not pass because I don't have your support, but I'm okay if it doesn't pass. But I'm gonna push it anyways and see what my colleagues say. For me, it's about being open and honest about those conversations with the community too. Because I do think that like when the community knows those conversations, you're also educating them about those conversations and the negotiation that's happening, right? Because they should be part of those. They should understand what's happening. Like we shouldn't have to hide those conversations. Like that should be happening with the community, and they should understand what's going on.
And the elected should also understand that they are in the place because the community put them there.
Yes.
And like for some reason we've gotten to this place where we've elevated people that we've put into office, and we have not held them accountable for actually listening to what it is that we're asking for. Melissa.
My question is, if elected, who will be able to call you out directly? Because you've talked about accountability and being able to wanting people to hold you accountable. So who will be able to call you out, and how will you respond?
I think anyone, like you can, Melissa. Anyone can, right? Like, yeah, I think organizations like the work that y'all do, right? Saying, hey, this is what Mai Vang said, and we need to hold her account to that. I think it's organization as individuals that should be holding their elected officials accountable, and that is by like calling them in or calling them out and saying, you said this, and this is what we expect, and how can we work together? So I think there's lots of ways to hold people accountable. One is like publicly, like stating it on social media, right? Having a campaign around it, or meeting with the person directly to hold them accountable to it. So yeah.
All right. We have about 3 minutes to go. I'm going to do a quick round robin, 30 seconds, everybody, for your last and final questions. If you don't have one, just go ahead and say pass, and we can move it up right along because we know Mai has to get somewhere pretty quickly here. And then I'm going to start with Mr. Fox because he's trying to run out the room.
Got a new campaign slogan.
You do?
My check, my paycheck, my paycheck.
Oh.
Thank you for being here with us. Thank you. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody's questions here. I appreciate everybody. Thank you, everybody, today.
So you didn't have a question?
I just wanted to thank you all. I appreciate being in the energy with you guys.
All right, Miss Patrice.
Go ahead.
Okay, Coco.
Well, you know, being in Sacramento, living in Meadowview, one of the serious issues that we have to deal with is youth gang violence and gun violence. And I wanted to hear a little bit of your opinion and what type of interventions are in preventions that you're thinking of besides putting more police in the community.
Yeah, I think folks know pretty clear my position on this. I've been really vocal about making sure that we invest in prevention and intervention and violence disruption, right? Like basically we need to make sure that our dollars are allocated for prevention. That's really key. That's why I fought for the Sacramento Children's Fund to make sure that we have dollars invested in our youth that's impacted by poverty, violence, and trauma. I know that the city of Sacramento applied for the Calvet grant, which is great, but I know that that's not enough to sustain the work, and that we have to have allocated dollars in our budget to actually invest in these critical programs. And so I'm a big proponent of that. I've always been pretty vocal about that. Last year we had 1.3 million just for violence prevention, and that's on the chopping block this year because of our budget. And it is really about our priorities. And so I've always been a vocal advocate to make sure that we have funding for these critical programs. There in the city of Sacramento, we had like 2 years without youth homicide. And it's because we actually invested
in programs that were
actually invested in these programs. And then when we started pulling dollars away, that's when we started seeing happen again. And so it's not like we don't know what to do. We know what to do.
Right.
We just need to invest in those programs. And so that's always been my position.
Word. Melissa.
If a young person watching this episode wants to run for office, what is one thing you think they should be prepared to face that people don't talk about?
I think the advice that I would have just for the young person is like, love yourself, trust yourself, and believe in yourself. Because when you're able to do that, like no matter what space you enter, you can speak authentically to your lived experience. No one's going to prepare you besides yourself in terms of speaking your truth. And so that's what I would tell to the young person is like, love yourself, believe in yourself, and trust yourself. That's really key. Before you make a decision to run, just know that like your existence is so needed in this moment. And so you absolutely should run for office. Even if people say that you don't have the experience, I think that, you know, your lived experience, you're ready for this moment. You are ready for this moment. Nothing can prepare you for running for any office, to be honest with you. Nothing can prepare you.
Run, huh?
Yeah, like I'm gonna be, you know, some people may say, oh, you need some governing experience in this. Yeah, like maybe, but like, no, not really. People that I'm in spaces in that they ain't that smart. Like,
Yeah.
And that's
but like my thing is this, like come
passing down positions.
Come to the table, your authentic self. And when you're in that space, remind yourself, like love yourself, trust yourself, believe in yourself, that your lived experience got you to that moment.
And you're supposed to be there.
And you're supposed to be there.
That you're supposed to be there. Mama P, question, and I know we have to go, but
my last question is this: we know you're in Meadowview. We know you rep big for your district. You will stay in Will you stay in Meadowview when you get elected to Congress?
Yeah, I mean, my husband and I are struggling. I mean, we're staying right here. We ain't going nowhere. Yeah, I'm like I shared with all of you. You know, my husband said to me that on election night he's gonna cry, and I said, why? And he's like, I was like, are you gonna cry because we're gonna win and you're happy? He was like, no, I'm gonna cry because I'm gonna know that I know that I'm not gonna see you as much. I'm gonna be here in Meadowview. I'll be here in Meadowview, taking care of the house, taking care of Coffee, our dog, our boys, and I'm not gonna see you as much because I know that I have to give you up to the community. And like that, like I just had to sit and process that, you know. And I told him, but he's like, but you know, like I prayed for you, and that God wants me to share you with the world, and that's my role, is to love you, to rock, and to support you. And so, yeah, I'm not going nowhere because my husband's right here. He's anchor here in Meadowview, and if I'm, you know, he is my rock and he keeps me grounded. So I'm gonna keep coming back to Meadowview because he's here. He's here. My whole family's here. So yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
You all, we have been talking to Councilwoman Mai Vang. We are so excited that you took time out of your schedule to join us. If you are still on the fence and you don't know whether you like her or not, understand. People say I don't do politics. Understand, politics does you all the time without Vaseline. So you have to get involved civically in order to see the changes that we're saying we want to see. So
and I just want to say, like, if you want to tap into our campaign, you want to learn more, go to myforus.com. You know, we are doing canvassing, phone banking, everyone, no matter skills, talent, anything you want to contribute to the campaign. There's a role for everyone. So tap in, go to myforus.com to learn more, and let's go win this June 2nd.
And those ballots have already gone out. I heard some folks have already started sending their ballots in. You don't even have to leave your house anymore. You can fill it out right at your house and put it in your mailbox. It's that easy to get civically engaged. So thank you again, Mai. I'm sure I will see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
And as we said earlier at the top of this is the first episode of our pre-primary blitz. The primary is on June 2nd. Next week, we will have Andre Spicer, Councilman Andre Spicer out of Compton will be here talking to us. And if y'all don't know what's going on in Compton, please research before next week. And let's hold some space for that conversation. And then the week after him, we are so excited. We got the other half of Hustle and Flow. Flo will be here. And we're just going to get into conversation about her race and what's going on with the Sacramento County Supervisor's race and how that's going, because I'm a little pissed off. They said she can't use doctor on the ballot.
Moving the goalposts, like you said.
So we'll be talking to her. So you guys, you don't want to miss the next couple of weeks. Says Summit is this Friday, right? And we have Celebration Weekend coming up. It's a lot going on, and we want you with us. Don't forget to vote. We'll see y'all soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Woohoo!